All right, everybody. This is Ask Dr. Kelly OMD. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm a board certified OBGYN and a healthcare executive and the program director for Viva Life. Viva Life is living your healthiest and wealthiest life spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, and emotionally. And the way that we focus on that is through our meditation, journaling, exercise, and optimizing our nutrition and our sleep. And we also bring on subject matter experts that deal with topics that affect us in our everyday life. That being said, we have a magnificent guest tonight. We are so excited to invite Kirsten. I met her in Germany less than 6 months ago. And I mean, we saw each other from across the room and hit it off since then. So excited to have you here. Kirsten, go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you're going to focus on tonight.
So my name's Kirsten. I'm a physical therapist, and I've worked with mothers and babies in their homes through a federally mandated program called Early Intervention. And what I want you to understand from my talk today is that, number one, you have a deep intuitive knowledge of your child's needs. So trust your intuition. Number two, I'm going to describe what the process of rupture and repair is. And because this is an important way that not only do we strengthen our muscles, but we strengthen our relationships through this process. And the last thing that I want to talk about is how to get curious to figure out what your child's needs are. Sometimes our kids are trying to tell us something and we're not quite getting what they want. And so I have a few tips on how to get more curious.
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing because number one, I know we're talking from a parental standpoint as far as having children, and whether your child is brand new, you don't have a child yet, or your children are grown and out the house, we always need to understand how that we can remain connected. But then also we talked about the fact that, you know what, this extends professionally and it extends to our family members. So for those of us that are caretakers, have our parents at home or are with our parents a lot, and even in the workplace, what you're going to say tonight, I know is going to hit it right on the. So Kirsten, go ahead and take it away for us tonight.
So let's just go ahead and start with the first message. So you have a deep intuitive knowledge of what your child needs. So I believe this to my core that we have intuition, and it's based on ancestral. I think it's baked into our DNA. We know what our children need. And what's happened, especially nowadays, is that the powers that be don't want you to tap into your intuition because they'd rather sell you a sleep system, a sleep coach, or flashcards so that your kid can get off to the best beginning. And none of that is necessary. We know intuitively what our children need. And if we can learn to trust that, especially as new moms, to learn to trust that, then it just helps take away the edge of stress, at least on one level for parents. And let me give you a quick example that I really like to explain. Sleep, babies and sleep is a good example. So there is a certain percentage of babies that are not meant to sleep through the night. They're without their parents' support. And there's all sorts of, there can be reasons for it. There can be biological reasons for it, neurological reasons for it. But also there's some babies who actually need to be woken up to be fed because we're worried that they're not gaining weight at a fast enough pace. And so parents go home thinking that their baby should be sleeping through the night at 6 to 8 weeks. And so they're set up for unrealistic expectations. And then they think, okay, I know I'm supposed to let my baby cry it out. Should I get a sleep coach? This doesn't feel right. And I know from my own experience, I had a whole bunch of books next to my bed when my kids were born. And I would rack my brain about it. And my gut instinct was, for my first child, he was not ready to sleep through the night without support. And so we did lots of I call it nighttime parenting, and for the first 2 years. And then, my second one came along and he was what I call my Velcro baby. He just was so happy I could put him anywhere and he was smiling and kicking. And so, there were times I went through the process of overriding what my instinct was for my first one and thought, no, we got to try cry it out. We'll try this method. We'll try the next method. And if I had just listened to my instinct all along, I would have been just fine. and so I was contorting myself. Go ahead.
No, that's so true because, I've only had one, but I tell you, just being connected, whether we were in a room together or not in a room together, I could totally feel my child. I also have my mother who was my, what I said, granny nanny. And I don't know what she did, but she was able to get this baby to do whatever she wanted to do. And I think that's why generational parenting is so important as well. So go ahead.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more about generational parenting. And if we think about it, we were never meant to raise our children sort of separate from a village of people who can support us. We are really meant to have that experience of lots of support.
Absolutely.
So that's the first point that I wanted to share. The second point is something that I just learned in the last 10 years, which is called rupture and repair. So our muscles, when we go to the gym and we work out, we get little micro tears in the muscle fibers, and then they heal up and scar over. And that's actually how we build up stronger muscles. It's that process of, rupturing the fibers and then repair. Well, the same is true for relationships. So what happens is we're in a relationship. So we'll use our child for an example. We're in a relationship with our child and we're missing what they're trying to tell us. And a really good example would be you're sitting at the breakfast table with your child is looking at and your child doesn't have language yet. So doesn't have words, and we'll say doesn't have a sign or anything. And your baby's looking at the little cup of water and is looking at the cup of water, looking at you, and you're busy playing away and saying, let's sing a song. Let's go ahead and do that rhyme that we learned, or, the special song that we have. And you do that. And then your baby's starting to get more and more upset because he or she's really thirsty and wants a sip of that water. And I lost my thought for a second. So they're telling us, and we're not getting it. And then they start getting upset and crying. And we're like, what just happened? I thought we were singing our favorite song. And then you kind of replay it back. Oh, he was looking at the water. He's never had a sip of water before. Why would he want a sip of water? And then that was the rupture. And now we're going to do the repair. So the repair is, things like naming the intent. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I did not realize you wanted a sip of that water. Here we go. And then you kind of soothe them, calm them down, sort of, for older kids, take accountability. I am sorry I missed that, buddy. I will, let's figure this out together. So parenting is hard. And parents, and this is another great point, is parents only get it right 30% of the time. So 30% of the time is good enough. So 30% of the time, I'm going to miss what my baby's telling me with his gestures. And it's okay if we have that rupture, as long as I circle back and help repair. So it's that repair process that's building the muscle of the relationship. And this process happens throughout the day. So that's the everyday connections that I was referring to. So this is happening throughout the day. And so we have multiple opportunities to get it right and form that connection with our kids. So let's see. So what's also interesting is we don't want to be perfectly attuned to our child. If we do that, so they've even done research that shows that babies and moms if a mom is trying to be attuned so perfectly and she's shooting for 70%, typically that child ends up being anxious. And it's interesting. And it's because they haven't had the opportunity to exercise that muscle. Like I know my mom just didn't know I wanted water, but I trust she's going to figure it out. But if she's getting it right every time, then I don't know what to do when she doesn't get it right.
That's so interesting because it's like the helicopter parenting thing. I love that. That's I think people need to know 30% is great. Everybody does strive for the 100% and everything like that, but 30% really is, something that you have to understand. And it's great to have the data that comes back on that.
Absolutely.
Now, lifers, go ahead and start getting your questions together because we have one more point that we're going to go over, but I don't want us to have any thought that we cannot ask any questions while we're going through this. So 30%, and then don't be a helicopter parent. So don't try to get the 70, 100% right, because we
No,
have to give our children and our, people that we care about space to make mistakes and come up with their own language and interpret that language is what I hear you saying.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay,
Awesome.
so our third point is that when our kids are getting upset, it typically means that there's something I call, or and other people call, an unmet need. So again, that example of the baby at the breakfast table, his unmet need was he's had a physical need, like I need a sip of water. You just gave me this very dry oatmeal. So other unmet needs can be connection to others. It could be like for a toddler, their unmet need could be independence. I need for them, they're feeling, I need to be able to figure out how to stack this block, and I want to do it alone. I don't want anybody helping me. They also, another really important need is a sense of belonging. We all, as human beings, need to have a sense of belonging. It's so important. We also, as human beings, need to have a sense of competency. And then, like I said before, there's physical needs like hunger or like an uncomfortable diaper. And so what we can do as a strategy is that, and I'll come to those questions that I see coming. I'm so happy they're coming. That if we get curious about what is the unmet need. So again, I'm watching the baby at the breakfast table and I'm thinking, what could it be? What could it be? And I'm going to run through some things. So if we get curious about what the unmet need is, that will help us discover what's going on for our child.
I mean, that is just so important to, try to figure it out, right? So you guys are figuring out this together, and whether that, like I said, whether this is a newborn, unborn child, or an older child, or a person that's a parent, a family member in the house, everybody's trying to figure out, okay, what are the needs that are going on with each individual person, and how can I help meet those needs without being a helicopter? But
Right.
how can I
Right.
help? So thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions here from TK. What advice do you have for a 3-year-old who fights bedtime?
Oh, that's that's a great one. And it's hard. It's difficult. So a 3-year-old should be kind of sleeping through the, should, again, it may be, I don't know everybody's situation, but a 3-year-old, could be sleeping through the night. And I think that, so what you could think about is, so if we think about, let's think about those unmet needs, or so connection to others, independence, belonging. So I would probably start with, let's look at connection to others. Let's see, did my child have a rough day at school today? And does he still have some things he wants to talk about? Is there something more that she wants to talk about? Was today a really busy day and we just didn't have enough time to connect? And so a strategy for that is building in special time, which I really like that idea. It's sort of 20 minutes. If you give your child 20 minutes of very, you're not doing anything else, very individualized, we're sitting down on the sofa, let's do what you want to do, buddy. That helps kind of create that sense of belonging and connectedness before bedtime, because bedtime means I have to say goodbye to you, mom and dad. And I don't want to do that. I'm not done. I want to tell you about my day.
Yes, absolutely. What about reading bedtime stories together in their room or wherever the place that they go to sleep? And then I also think about, the things that we tell ourselves as adults. Are we turning off the lights at a certain time? Is there a blue screen that's still bluing? Does the child like special noises? Like, do we like to listen to the ocean or anything like that? And then just kind of thinking, okay, when would you suggest, this is going on longer than usual? When do you suggest talking to the pediatrician or the nurse practitioner or even a physical therapist?
If you've tried a lot of things and it continues to go on, I would worry if there's things like really bad nightmares, or night terrors, then, and I would really look at, what's going on? It could be, I work with families who are moving a lot. And so often that can create sleep disturbances. And
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would say hormonal imbalances, but you know what? We think about that in older people, but it could be some type of hormonal sleep cycle imbalance or anything like that that's associated with it as well.
Yeah.
And co-sleeping. So some people still co-sleep, which I think is just fine. And if we're taking out that close sleeping pattern because we're trying to have intimate time with our significant other, or maybe you're in a different place, a hotel room instead of your own bed. So looking at all of those different types of things. Let's see, we have a comment that says, I have 4 kids and I feel it seems that my second child's behavior suddenly changed. She was our baby for 8 years before the third baby, and she distanced herself from my spouse and I since the arrival of the baby. What advice do you recommend for us as a couple to address this situation? This is a good one.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. So again, I'd go back to like the needs, the list of needs. So building a sense of belonging, kind of stating what happens is with kids, it's a little bit tricky because they're different from adults in that they can't necessarily put their finger on what they're feeling. They may not know the words, and they need parents to make meaning for them. And so as parents, kind of like, how can we help our child understand that they are part of this family still, even though things have changed? And so in sort of consistency in that message that we're sending our kids. Another tip that I love is when a kid is struggling with something, instead of like sometimes people say, oh, let's talk about feelings, let's name feeling words. Kids often don't know. I used to laugh that I would go shopping with my mom at the age of 20 and I would be hangry, but I didn't realize I was hangry. And then I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry, I'm being a jerk. And she would say, you're hungry. Let's go get you something to eat. But at 20, I'm still figuring that out. It's instead of labeling the feeling, labeling the intention. So yeah, I know you're sad because you wanted that ice cream. Or I know you're sad, and then kind of like, and then as opposed to saying, I know you want that ice cream. We're not going to have ice cream before dinner, honey, but I hear you. I know that's what you want. Can't do it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to kind of change how you speak in the kind of vernacular that you're using so that they can understand that you understand how they're feeling
Exactly.
without feeling words. So we have another great question that says, can having postpartum depression or being on antidepressants interfere with your intuition?
No, I don't think so. And now I'm not talking about research, except for that I will tell you that taking medication, if your doctor has recommended that you take medication, and if it's working for you, then it's good to keep taking it. And so what it will help you with your intuition because you will be your more authentic self. What the medication does is it kind of takes off that film or that layer, or that heaviness that one feels when one is depressed, and it lets you be yourself. And so you're going to be much better able to tune into your baby when you're not depressed. And again, it's about connection. And interestingly, and I know you had somebody speaking about infant massage on your program, but infant massage classes has been proven to be effective for moms who are depressed. I know that it's that process of connection. It's that touch. I'm touching my baby's skin. My baby's feel me. We're connected physically. We're connected emotionally in this moment. And so it's important for moms who have postpartum depression to make sure that whatever the treatment is, that they're getting treatment.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I can totally see that if you have postpartum blues, depression, of course, as significant as psychosis, and you are not having appropriate therapy, then will become more disconnected where you are not able to utilize that intuition. So I can totally understand that piece. And then because you have all of the symptoms associated with depression, which everybody's a little bit different by what that depression symptoms are, as far as, are you not talking to people? Are you not engaging or interacting? Is your mind just kind of swirling and you don't know and you're disconnected? Are you, not eating or overeating or anything like that? So if you have all of those symptoms, then you're not able to really concentrate on yourself appropriately. So therefore, you're more likely than not that you're not going to be able to concentrate on your child or your family member as well. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. Do we have any other questions? I know some people are still, let's see, I think I have another question that came up. May I have the name of that massage? Yes, we will get that to you. Miss Cheryl will send that out to us about the name of that massage that we had before. And that was a really great correlation, because touch, when we think about touch, and it's something that I talk about a lot in our podcast that we do pretty much we talk about oxytocin and how oxytocin is a positive hormone for you. So whenever you touch, kiss, hug, love on yourself or someone else, with their acceptance, of course, is what I say. Then you hormone called oxytocin, and that natural hormone will improve your mood, but then will also help you with feeling harmonious, peaceful, loving, and all of that. And when you can connect with your child with that, it makes a huge difference as well. So thank you.
That's exactly how it works with infant massage. And what's interesting is they did studies where even the toddler, the siblings, so the toddler was in the room with the mom and the baby, even the toddler's oxytocin level went up from just watching the mom give the baby a massage.
Oh, I love that. And I can see you're walking down the street or the hallway and somebody smiles at somebody else, and you get to hear this like positive response from them. You yourself are like, that makes me feel better too. Just being able to hear, being in the vicinity makes such a huge difference. Love that, love that, love that. How about recommendations for being a caretaker for a parent or a sibling or a loved one? How can you utilize what you taught us tonight in that respect or regard?
Oh, again, rupture and repair. And let me just say especially for adult relationships, not all of us are good at repair. Not all of us grew up in a culture of repair. And so it's a process. It's a process of learning. And I do have one resource that I think is fabulous, and it's a book called The Power of Discord. And it's written by Ed Tronick, who's a famous infant psychologist. But he talks about, there's a lot of child development scenarios in it, similar to what we've been talking about today. But what he does is he ties it to relationships between adults. And so again, and especially like as our parents are getting older, sometimes we may miss what it is that they're trying to let us know, or it's harder for them to get all the words out. And so we have to slow ourselves down. We have to, basically like slowing ourselves down and getting in the same rhythm with the person we're in relationship with helps the connection, helps the communication, helps the relationship basically, and helps us figure out those unmet needs.
I love it. I love you saying that, because when you're at different ages of our parents and our children, you're moving a mile a minute, right? You are. And then just to take that deep breath, be mindful, be in the moment, be present, and be okay with slowing down so that you can actually connect on the same level as the person that you are with. Because there's only so many moments in a day that you'll actually be able to have connection with others outside of, the work that you have to do. And a lot of times we as women, parents, caretakers have so much on our plates that we forget to take the time to slow down and connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. Love that. And the other thing that you brought up was, you mentioned this earlier, I think it was in the repair phase, It's about apologizing.
Mhm.
And, I notice, and some people don't understand how to apologize, and that
Mhm.
can be the first step to repairing whatever is going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to take accountability. It's a beautiful model for kids to take it, for them to see their parent take accountability. Sorry, buddy, I didn't realize that's what you were talking about. Yes, that's something that we can do. And you can leave it at that. Yeah, when kids see parents do that, then kids will do it with their friends, and they'll learn to do it with their partners when they grow up. And that, I think, is really important.
I think so as well. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad that everybody was able to be on here tonight and ask questions of you. Can you tell us if we're able to get in touch with you, how we are able to get in touch with you, and give us a little bit more about staying connected?
I am on social media, but I'm not a big social media person. I have an Instagram account that's sort of my own personal Instagram account, and I just started a professional one because I've been doing more presentations lately. And so I can share that with everyone. Also, my email address, if anybody, I don't provide a private consultation, but you're welcome to contact me with questions about parenting or
Love it.
relationships, as far as, rupture and repair.
And as well, right?
Pardon?
You're on LinkedIn as well.
Yes, LinkedIn's my bigger platform.
And just under your name, Kirsten, correct?
Kirsten, and then the last name is Sippel-Klug, Sippel-Klug.
Love it, love it.
And so I'm under LinkedIn.
And just to let everybody know, she is in Germany. So it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning now. So we want to say thank you very much for coming on. I'm Dr. Kelly OMD, and you already know how to get in touch with me at Dr. Kelly OMD on Instagram, Viva Life Health Hub, everywhere else. And then on LinkedIn, Kelly O. Elmore. So I want to thank everybody for coming on. Please, please, please submit your surveys for us. This helps us figure out, what information that we can continue to bring to you, how we can make it better, and what information you found that was very helpful for you. So thank you all. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And we look forward to the next Ask Dr. Kelly OMD, which will be Monday. Have a wonderful evening. And don't forget us to do what? Viva Live. All right, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of the Viva Life experience. I'm Dr. Kelly OMD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive. If you like what you heard, then please, please, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. The reason why is because we are trying to educate, encourage, and inspire 1 million people to live their healthiest and wealthiest life. And this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you educational videos. We're bringing you podcasts. We are bringing you webinars with subject matter experts, including myself, about the topics that affect you the most. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. We are everywhere. Have a wonderful day. Viva Life.